Hey there everybody, welcome back to the Getting Dirty Off-Road channel. Today we're going to do a rattle can rebuild on the Pulling Truck's 4-speed transmission. Probably going to have several parts to this project, so I guess we'll just call this part 1. We don't know what we're doing here, but we're going to do it anyway. So if you remember, this is the truck we are going to build into a sled puller to go to the truck and tractor pulls. So we'll get this transmission going. I've got everything cleaned, prepped, ready to put back together here. We are putting new gaskets on, new seals in, and then we're going to spray it with some paint and call it rebuilt. Okay, we're going to start on the back side of the transmission where the transfer case will mount. One thing I want to point out, this adapter here goes between the transmission and the transfer case. Now this is something you want to put on before you put the adapter housing on. This is something that I would forget, actually almost did. So I'll make sure that this is on before I bolt on the adapter. Now, even though we've got new gaskets, I always like to put a little gasket maker silicone on the surface. If anything else, it keeps the gasket on your surface when you take it back off next time. But I like to do it just to help it stick in place. So I just dab some on there and then smooth it out with my finger. Then we'll just lay this gasket right on top of that, line up the holes. So it's stuck down in the silicone pretty good. We'll go ahead and stick it back on the transmission. Snug that bolt up, then we can line all the rest of these up. So now I'm just going to snug them up all the way around, make sure that everything's in place. Okay, we've got them all snugged up. Now this adapter piece holds your bearings in the case, which keeps your shafts back where they should be. I'm sure there's a torque spec on these bolts, but I kind of go good and tight. Okay, now use my double click and elbow. Got them tight. You'll know you're there when the silicone squeezes out the sides. Now I bought this seal gasket kit off the intranet. They sent me the wrong output seal, which maybe I didn't type it in correctly. Everything else seems to be right, but we'll have to get a different output seal here and put in it. So now we'll come around to the front side of the transmission here. We'll put this bearing cap back on. Once again, just a little bit of silicone to hold it in place. So we'll put this gasket on there. So now I'll crank down our screws. So on these, I'll have to go to my limp-wristed inch-pound converter. Seems about right. Now this is a bearing cap for the input shaft, and it's got a lip seal in it. That way you can keep all of your gear lube inside of your gearbox. So now I'm always saying to smash it. Every now and then you got to pull back and just tap it. So we'll get this seal in here, lightly tap. Just like that, we've got it put back in the way it came off. This open space and the lip of the seal will be towards the transmission, and that's how we keep the oil in. Now another thing to notice, you've got this notch here where any of the oil around the inside of this cap servicing this bearing can drain back through this little drain hole right here. So we'll make sure that's lined up correctly. Make sure we don't fill up that drain hole with any silicone as well. Now the gasket's got the same notch in it, so we'll line it up with the cover and the drain hole. Okay, I've got the drain notch lined up for the oil to run back. Got all the bolts lined up. So now I'll just push it on to get the seal up on the ridge where it rides. Then we'll just tighten her down. Alrighty, good and tight. So now with this bearing cap on and the adapter on, bearing cap down here, we've got all of the bearings set back into the case where they should be, which means everything in the shafts and everything is lined up correctly now. So now we'll put the top on. So now you can see that these shifting forks here all have a notch in them. So when you're putting this back in, you'll have one that slides into here, one that slides into here, and then down in the bottom. So we've got it all gooped up. We'll put the gasket on. Now this cover's got a couple of guide pins here. So we've got the gasket around that like it should be, and then on the top of the transmission there's a couple spots that they go into. So let's see if we can get all three of these forks lined up without too much trouble. And this pin right here is what holds the shifter into the top of the transmission. For some reason it's out and tearing me up. Fix that. Okay, so I had to mess around with it a little bit to get the forks lined back up. It seems like everything's where it should be. Okay, so we'll tighten all these bolts up and the top will be done. Okay, now we're going to put these side covers on, the PTO access ports. We're just putting covers on those again. And then that'll be it for the new gaskets. Okay, we've got this cover on. We'll roll it over and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, everything's back together. So I think we'll go find the rattle can that my wife brought home for it and shoot a little paint on there. Okay, so now got our fresh can of rebuild here. Now, like I mentioned in the previous video, everything inside of this transmission looks pretty fresh. So that's how I'm getting away with just the new seals and gaskets. It's out of the truck. Might as well go ahead and paint it. So let's see what she come up with. Well, I'd go ahead and say that that looks like it's pink. Super. So I'll go ahead and finish painting that up. It's about 41 degrees, so just right for painting. So that's going to do it for this one on the truck pulling overhaul build. We're really not sure what to do as far as building this truck into a puller. So we'd sure appreciate anything and everything you guys have to offer. Just throw it down there in the comments for us. We're open to all suggestions. For us, the Getting Dirty Off-Road is all about enjoying yourself, and that's what we hope to do with this truck here. So this is part one. I hope you stick around to see it all the way hooked up to a sled. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like, comment, subscribe. If you're subscribed, hit the bell. You want to get notified every time we put something out. You never know what it's going to be. Hopefully this takes over many parts and we bring you something entertaining. Thanks for watching. We surely appreciate it. See if you can get any of your friends to watch us as well. We don't care if you're laughing at us. Just stick around and see what happens.